Hi, Ange. Dave from the Cynic here.
Hey, Dave.
In your book, Changing the Game, you frequently circle back to the importance of this idea of, in your own words, finding meaning in everything that you do, both inside and outside of football. Could you expand on this idea and how it influences you as both a Celtic manager in your day-to-day on the pitch, but also for your long-term vision for the club and your players?
Yeah, appreciate you reading the book. You know, look, it's central to what I do, to be honest. I mean, and I don't keep it a secret because I talk about it to the players every day. You know, I think as much as people talk about the tangible things, I guess in life, but particularly in sport, in football, you come to a club like Celtic, and everyone makes you well aware that you're expected to win every week and expected to have success, and everyone talks about that incessantly, not just at this football club, but in sport in general, in football. But my view on that is that you've got to find meaning beyond just winning. You know, winning can't be the end game because everybody wants to win. For me, what's more important is how do you want to attain that? You know, how you want to attain that victory? How do you want to attain that success? You know, in what manner? With what kind of football? With what kind of behaviour? What kind of team do you want to be? What kind of people do you want to be? How do you want to represent yourself? That's much more important. And I think when you nail that, and that's what I've tried to do throughout my career, then you're more than likely to create something special because people are driven by more than just getting 3 points or getting a victory in a game of football. Because obviously when you're meeting an opponent who's equally determined to get those 3 points, often what wins is the team that has something greater driving them than just getting those 3 points. So for me, it's always been about, in a football context, the football we play. I just don't want to win. I want to win playing a certain way. And I drive my players and my staff to do that every day so that there'll be games we win when we walk away and we're disappointed because we didn't play the football we want. Other days we'll be disappointed we didn't win, but understanding we're on the right road because we played the kind of football we wanted to play. So that's where it becomes really important for me. And I guess that's, as I said to the players, that's every day. That's, if you can find meaning in the way you live your life, because if the motivation is just to make money or to have fame or to, do those things, well, there wouldn't be a person on earth who wants to do that. But if there's meaning behind what you do, then those kind of things come to you anyway.
Thanks for your time, Ange.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks, dude. Declan McConnell.
Good afternoon, Ange. Just to ask you, you'll have realised the strength and depth of feelings and emotions that Celtic fans have towards the heroes and legends, particularly after you attended the play last week. You've probably read a lot about Bear Too Old the past day, and I read what Callum McGregor had to say just earlier on. How important is legends and former Celtic players to have visible in and around the club, especially for youth players breaking through the ranks?
It's important for everyone, not just youth players. I mean, I've walked into here and I've just had a chat to Danny McGrain, and I just had to sit down before that and spoke to John Clarke about his. I mean, it's, I pinch myself sometimes because I'll bump into these guys and, you kind of realise, again, what a privileged position we're in. So it's not just for the youth players, it's for every person, every player that comes, every staff member that comes through here that, when you walk into a club like Celtic, irrespective of your position, you kind of feel, you're walking a little bit taller and you feel like you're a little bit stronger, and particularly in a position like mine. But that doesn't come from what I bring to it. That comes from the fact that I'm come into it, standing on the shoulders of giants. You're in an elevated position because of the people that have come before you and created this. I understand that it's past players, managers, supporters, the founders of this football club that create what it is here today. And, you walk walk out in front of 60,000 at Celtic Park. I didn't create that. We didn't create that. The ones who are here now. What we can do is try to sort of honour that and bring our own little bit to it. But also always understanding that whatever success that we bring, this current group, to this football club, it's on the shoulders of some absolute giants that have come before us. And, having them around is a constant reminder of that, should you need it. But I think that's the one thing that this football club does probably better than most, is that it understands its past, it heralds its past, and rightly places it in the highest possible position of this football club.
Thanks, Declan.
The very best for Saturday, Ange.
Thanks, mate.
Hamish?
Hi, Ange.
Hey, Hamish.
The vast majority of signings you've made in the summer have really already made an impact at the club. But I wanted to ask you about three who maybe haven't played as much. The two boys from Sheffield Wednesday, Liam Shaw, Asazio Rigidi, and also James McCarthy. How have they settled into life at the club? And could we see loan deals possibly for Shaw and Rigidi in January?
Yeah, look, I am pleased with sort of the majority how they've settled in so far. It's been to be fair to all the players, the new ones, and even some of the existing ones, it's been a bit of a baptism of fire for them, because we've just thrown them in and knowing that they're going to be measured straight away against, as I've just spoken about, past teams, past players. So it certainly hasn't been an easy introduction for any of our players. And the fact that so many of them have already sort of hit the ground running and made an impact is great and positive. The key to that is to keep going, obviously, because we're only sort of in the early stages of developing this football team and our players. With the three guys you've mentioned, all different sort of scenarios. Sazi and Liam, difficult for them in the fact that, sometimes when you bring in young players, and those certainly players we brought in as sort of development players, much easier to bring those kinds in when the team is settled. But obviously, we brought them in at a time where, a lot of new players are in the team's still finding its way, and unfortunately we haven't been able to get a lot of game time for them, but they're working hard at training every day. They're pushing themselves. I believe even though they haven't played, they've improved as footballers. And, if you train every day with us, one thing I will say is you will improve. And it's about now getting them the right opportunity. That may be here, that may be, as you said, a loan deal somewhere. We'll make those decisions. Come January, we'll sit down with the boys and see what their best sort of way forward is. But every day, like I said, I believe they're improving. They're working hard. They've got great attitudes, and football's a funny thing. Sometimes it's very difficult to kind of align yourself with opportunities and the timing of them. They come along sometimes when you least expect it. As I said to players consistently, just be ready for it when it comes. And those two are. With James McCarthy, it's a little bit different. Look, again, people have to be sort of a little bit. I don't like making excuses for the players, because again, it's they understand the responsibilities they have, but especially guys like James McCarthy, Jacko Marcus is in that sort of category as well. We signed them when they weren't with clubs. They'd already left their football clubs. They hadn't done a pre-season. They've been training on their own. The difference between them and Kyogo came straight off a season, but Jota was doing pre-season. The likes of Carter Vickers was still playing with Tottenham games. So all these other players who've sort of hit the ground running and are doing well, either had pre-season with us, came in very early. Liel Abada was another example. He came in very early, got a good pre-season with us, even though we threw him in quickly. He's had more time. But James and Giacomarcus are probably the two. They came in late. They hadn't done pre-season. Any footballer will tell you missing pre-season is the most crucial part of the year. So we just got to be patient with them and give them time to sort of get up to speed. They're both training hard. They're both ready and available. They both had some little injuries, which is not surprising considering the fact they didn't do pre-season. And I mean, people aren't here every day, but we train really hard. The intensity and tempo of training is super tough, and it takes players different sort of times to get adjusted to that. So they're here, they're working hard, and James will get an opportunity, and I'm sure when he does, when he's ready, he'll show his quality.
Thanks, Ange. All the best.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Hamish. John Reid. John.
Hi, Ange.
Hey, John.
I'd just like to ask something about Kyogo. He's obviously started excellently for the team this season, but he played a lot of football obviously last season in the J-League, so he's played a lot of football this calendar year. Is that something you're going to have to take into account, especially in the second half of the season, to make sure he doesn't get burned out and can play as many games as possible for us?
Yeah, people haven't taken too kindly to me resting him so far, so I guess it's not the most popular way forward. But yeah, look, as I've always said, I understand that there's this sort of urgency to do certain things, but I'm a pretty methodical kind of guy. There's science behind everything we try and do, and I listen to the guys who are working in the medical teams, in the sports science department, my coaches, the people who spend time. And there are times we need to just be really mindful of, these guys aren't robots. If we want them performing at the highest possible levels, then we've got to be making sure we look after them from a physical and even a sort of psychological perspective. Because as you said, Kyogo, I think he's second top goal scorer still in Japan. I mean, he played a hell of a lot of games there, and he's had international games. We know he's had an injury. He's come back here. So now you wouldn't know it talking to him because he wants to play all the time. He wants to train all the time. He's constantly smiling. But, we've got to look beyond that because he's not just here for 3 or 4 months. We want him here for a long time and establishing himself as a fantastic player for this football club. So, we're not just with him, with all our players, we're constantly monitoring them. I think the fact that we have a mid-season break is going to be helpful to us, particularly for someone like Kyogo. I think with a bit of luck, we'll get him through to that period without missing too much football. And then, there's a good time for us to give him a bit of a spell, which it'd be the normal time for him. That's the end of the J-League season as well. So he'd be looking for a bit of time off. So, but with all these decisions, sometimes, as I said, I think people probably get a little bit frustrated or disappointed when we make those decisions. I make those decisions, but I don't always get them right. But I'm always making sure that I'm using every bit of information I have before making them, and using every bit of knowledge I have. So they're not made, they're not made without any other thought than what I think's best for the player and the club.
Thanks, Ange. Good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks, John. David Falls. David.
Hi Ange, how are you?
I'm good, Dave.
Can I ask you for a comparison between Japanese football and Scottish football after you've been here for a number of months now, in terms of the culture, the way the games are reported, the standard of football? For instance, could you see a player from the Scottish League being transferred and being a success in the J-League?
Yeah, look, some similarities, a lot of differences, a lot of cultural differences, just different countries. I lived there, with my family for almost 4 years. We loved our time in Japan. It's a different kind of, as I said, culture, a different kind of environment. But again, people very, very respectful and embraced us in Japan, but different to here. I didn't get invited to people's houses in Japan when I met them, but they were equally as welcoming in different ways. So, but both in terms of the football, I enjoyed my experience in Japan. The technical level of the game there is great. The crowds are great. We were averaging 40,000 pre-COVID at Yokohama, and they get right into it. They sing their songs. Again, it's different because in comparison, their football clubs are maybe 30 years in existence. They don't have the history, they don't have the culture, they don't have the stories that we're talking about here. So there's a different feel to it, but equally as passionate. As I said, the standard of football is very good. They've got some quality, both Japanese players and foreigners that keep the standard high. It's a bigger league. There's obviously, I think there was 20 teams this year, but it's an 18-team league usually, and very, very competitive for the most part. I can see, I definitely can see Scottish players, but they'd have to be the best Scottish players to go over there and make an impact, because the general level of Japanese players is very high. So when they bring imports in, they expect them to be of the highest possible quality. So it's not an easy league for foreigners to go into, to be fair. But aside from that, I like I said, I enjoyed my time. In the case of how it's reported, you've got a lot more pundits here, let me tell you, and a lot of more pundits who are ex-players of clubs. So I do. That's certainly very, very different from the way it gets reported in Japan, and it's, I guess for me, it's entertaining at the moment, because it's kind of new to me after the 4 years of a relatively reserved media back in Japan to what we're getting here. But as I said, it's all part of the fun, and I'm enjoying it. But as an experience for me, it was priceless. It's what I love about football. I love, you can go in a different country, different culture, and they still love football as much as anyone else, as people here. And I love that that common thread of the passion for this game is throughout the world.